Acting Leader, you'll be aware, as indeed the Cathaoirleach and many members of the House will be aware, that taxi deregulation was brought into this country to increase competition and make the taxi service, particularly in the bigger cities, more available. I travelled in a taxi last week, and the driver of the taxi was renting the plate for the taxi, and it was costing him €200 a week. That's €10,000 a year, right? I understand anecdotally that there are people in this city who have 100 and 200 taxi plates that they rent out. Some of them are absentee landlords. They are not living in the state. Now, there's two questions to be asked here. The first one is that contrary to the deregulation, if you want, the modus operandi or the rationale for deregulation? And the second one is, how sure can we be that those driving taxis in this city have gone through the PSV test and are safe drivers? How sure can we be that they are fully insured? And who, in God's name, ever allowed one individual to own 200 taxi plates and rent them out at a cost of €10,000 per year? 100 plates at 10,000 per year. It's an enormous amount of money. And yet, most of the members of this House will know that it can be extremely difficult to get a taxi in Dublin. The reason they're not issuing plates. Now, I think every person has a right to make a living. But I think the way in which, and the rationale for taxi plates was one plate for one driver to make a living. But where somebody has 100 plates, there is something wrong. And if the story is true that there are people with 200 plates out there who are absentee landlords, the plates should be cancelled straight away, and the people who are renting those plates should be able to go to the taxi regulator and buy a plate. I think it's about €500. Is it 500 or maybe 5,000? It's somewhere between those two figures. And you can make a living out of it. But if you're paying for the maintenance of your car, paying insurance, paying the rent, you probably work in the first 3 days of the week for nothing. You know, so I think it is gross exploitation. There is also the story that some taxis are on the road 24 hours a day. So you have a driver getting out of the taxi at 6 o'clock in the evening, somebody else getting out of the taxi at 6 in the morning and handing back over at 12. It is just totally and utterly unacceptable. We need to know that taxis are regulated properly, that drivers are insured properly, and that they have the necessary qualification to be a taxi driver in any city in this country. So I would ask that maybe you might take that up through the party system, and maybe your colleagues in Fine Gael might do the same. Thank you.